Welcome to Living Gets Real. I'm Ashwini Vedakan. Joining us this week is the American who's taken over TikTok and YouTube by storm. We have Eric Heinrich on board. But before we get into the show, here's a little sneak peek into his life. Welcome to Living Gets Real, Eric. It's good to have you with us.
Thanks so much, Ashwini. It's very, very awesome to be here.
Now, Eric, you have actually gotten a lot of fans through your TikToks and your YouTube videos. But for those of them out there who don't know you, how would you describe yourself?
Yeah, so my name's Eric. I hail from the land of Texas in the United States. And a bit about myself. In Texas, I was, just going to school, and I was working at a bakery. So honestly, doing the things we're doing now is quite a different thing. But I'd say I'm just kind of a lighthearted goober. I guess that's that's a good way to describe me. Yeah.
Okay. Well, now coming back to the videos and the TikTok creations, how did that start?
Yeah, it actually started. Since I was a kid, I had a passion for doing stuff like this. So, I would always do home videos on like our camcorder and stuff like that growing up. And I remember I found this this little tool in our attic once. It was like this recording machine. And when I was a kid, I used to always grab this recording machine and record myself talking. And I would do talk shows and comedy bits and things like that. This is when I was 8 years old or something. And I would just re-listen to myself. And I'd be like, oh, it's so funny the way I said that. And I kind of fell in love with the craft of doing that. And then when I came to Sri Lanka, honestly, I'd kind of forgotten that passion in doing those things. But during lockdown, the initial lockdown in 2020, I was locked down, quarantined. And so I just started making TikToks, just started making funny videos, just things about Sri Lankans and the way I was relating to Sri Lanka and the way I was learning Sinhala and things like that. And it started taking off. People started watching and laughing, and they found it very relatable. So I just kept making them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, with the TikTok videos came brand endorsements. And now you created quite a brand for yourself as well. How do you deal with the negative backlash that can happen on social media? How do you deal with hate speech?
Yeah, that is definitely very real, especially on TikTok. I'm seeing it because on TikTok you can be more anonymous. It's such a high population on TikTok that there actually is a lot of hate speech, and sometimes you can scroll through and just see the way people are slandering each other just because their username can be whatever they want, their picture can be whatever they want. But it's like this, for hate speech that comes towards me specifically, I always it's like that, what is that Selena Gomez song? It's like, kill them with kindness, I just try to kill them with kindness, and I'm always just very kind and polite. Because you never know, sometimes that kindness can convert a hater. But at the same time, if there's a hater that's kind of maybe there's been some who talk negative towards my wife or talk negative towards, because sometimes I've done like a Tamil skit, and then there would be hate with that can happen, and it'll be talking against, basically if they're talking about somebody other than myself, then that's when I'll be like, hey, and I'll get a little more firm, or I'll block them or something like that, just to protect my audience and followers. But if it's against me, then I'm like, I can take it, I'm fine. I'm like, whatever, cool, So yeah.
Now you've actually done a lot of Sinhala songs. I see you started making a few Sinhala songs. Do you see yourself doing a few Tamil as well? Second language?
Yeah, actually. So I've done the Mata Tawa One, other song called Mage Adareya. So I did this one called Weligama. It's based off of Justin Bieber's Peaches song. Yeah. So that has a little bit of Tamil in it, actually. The second verse, I do a little bit of Tamil. I probably butchered the pronunciation of it a bit. But yeah, definitely. I've had a lot of people asking, can you do more Tamil stuff? So definitely looking into that. I just need to get my tongue prepared. It's a mouthful. So.
Now coming back to you living in Sri Lanka, you're an expat in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
What do you consider the pros and cons of living here?
Good question. I think pros would be the people. I find everybody in Sri Lanka very accommodating, very hospitable. I've felt very welcome since day one of being in Sri Lanka. I felt like very cared for. All the aunties saying "Oya Kavada," making sure that I'm well fed and taken care of. I would say cons are just based off preference, you know, because growing up in the States, you have quite a wide variety of selections. And then coming here, it's limited. And it's not that you can't find that quality in Sri Lanka, you just have to look a little harder for it. Yeah, that's what I would say.
All right, well, we've reached the end of our burning segment. But before we go, we have a little game planned for you.
Awesome.
Now, I've noticed that you have these little tutorials of how you teach other foreigners out there to speak in Sinhala.
Yeah.
So we have a few words we want you to translate for us.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah?
I think so. Hey everybody, Pete Rainwater here with Living Magazine, and I'm excited to teach you some Sinhalese from Sri Lanka. First up, we got some words that I don't know, but I'm going to try to teach you them. We got Sam Ahan, Samahan, and I'm guessing that means something about kindness. I don't know. Next, we got Pisu. All right, pea soup. Kind of sounds like pea soup if you're from America, but basically that's what you tell people on the road when they're walking and they don't know where they're going. You say, "Hey, pisu da," just like that. Next, we got. Hang on. Next we got oh yay. Oh yay. Now oh yay, that's kind of when you're talking to somebody you say oh yay. It's just kind of a general pronoun that you use in Sri Lanka. Oh yay. Alright? Next we've got ko, ho, meda. Kohomeda. Now kohomeda is a real simple term that you use when you're talking to somebody just to see how they're doing. You say, "Hey, kohomeda." And they'll usually answer and say, just like that. Now here's one of my personal favorites as Pete Rainwater. We got kotu. Kotu. Commonly in Sri Lanka, they might say it like kotu. Put your tongue in there a little bit. Just kotu. Just like that. Get that little whistle on the tip of your tongue. Kotu is basically the most amazing food you could ever eat. So in America we have nachos. Man, this is like ultimate nachos. With a little bit of burn afterwards, but you know, it happens. Next, I actually recently did this one. The next one is meh. Now that's typically when a Sri Lankan's talking to you, they want to ask you a question, they'll say me macam mana kerana, just like that. You begin your questions with meh. Next we got malu. Now you might hear this on the road when you're walking. You might hear different tuk-tuks going by, going malupan, just like that. But malu is like those fish. That's what that is. And here's another famous one that you'll hear when you're walking on the road. You'll hear people saying, "Kiri, kiri." Kiri. And my answer to that is, yes, I want some. Alright, next we got bath. But it's not what you think it is. You don't actually submerge your body into this. You submerge your fingertips into it. It's bath. It's rice. Alright? Next we got kiada. Kiada, you'll hear this commonly when you're on the streets in Peta. You hear people asking each other, kiada. Kiada? 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 You never know what you're going to get a response, especially when you're going to Peta. It might be something ridiculous, or it might be something quite affordable. Next, I love this one. Now, this is what my auntie tells me all the time, because to be honest, I'm desirable. So she looks at me and she says, "Anne, Anne," just like that. Now that's what all the aunties say to me. I hope they do the same for you when you come to Sri Lanka. All right, and next, here we go. This is a good one. Now this is when Sri Lankans are talking to each other. It's just kind of like a way of acknowledging that you hear somebody. You know, it's kind of like, it's a very deep meaning, really. You know, hadi, 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 hadi. Oh, hadi, hadi. When someone's saying hadi to you, one of two things: they're either really listening or they're not listening at all. So you have to kind of know if they're from the tone of, if they're not listening, then it's probably like hadi, 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 hadi. If they're listening, it's like hadi, 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 oh, like that. And I think that's it. We went through it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to Pete Rainwater with Living Magazine.
Well, that was a lot of fun. Did you have fun?
Yeah, I had a blast. That was some impromptu singly speaking.
Before I actually end the show, I wanted to ask you, who is Pete Rainwater? How did he come about?
So funny. So in Texas, we have these very Texan names like Pete Rainwater. And so actually growing up, I knew somebody named Pete Rainwater from Texas, and he talked like that. And so I thought, if Pete Rainwater, he's just kind of this old guy from Texas, if he were living in Sri Lanka, how would he pronounce the words? And so that's why I find it funny. And so I try to kind of purposely mispronounce them in a way that's like quite humorous, you know.
Do you think Pete's watching?
I hope not. He's probably like, yeah, that's how I'd say that too. He's probably totally agreeing with it.
Nice. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on the show.
Same.
Thank you for joining us today.
Yes, thanks, Ashwini.
And that's all we have for you this week. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram to catch the latest episode. Thank you for watching and stay safe.
Merry Christmas!